US forces expand their military campaign as fresh strikes reportedly hit targets across southern and western Iran. A new wave of attacks is reported across more than a dozen Iranian cities, according to local media reports. Qeshm, Bandar Abbas, Bushehr, Ahvaz, and Abadan are among the locations reportedly targeted in the latest strikes. Iran International said, and I quote, Escalation News Telegram channel reported that the latest wave of attacks targeted a wider range of locations across southern and western Iran than previous strikes. According to the report, the targeted areas include Qeshm, Sirik, Bandar Abbas, Jask, Bushehr, Khondab, Bandar Abbas, Baybahan, Andameshk, Desfal, Ahvaz, Abadan and Khorramshahr. The report could not be independently verified, and neither US nor Iranian authorities have immediately confirmed the full scope of the reported attacks. Unquote. After Iran's retaliatory attacks, the US rejects reports claiming American troops were killed in Kuwait. The latest US strikes appear significantly broader in scope than previous waves of attacks, according to emerging reports. A direct US-Iran military confrontation continues to unfold around the strategically vital Strait of Hormuz. CENTCOM says the strikes are intended to degrade Iran's ability to threaten commercial shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. US Central Command said, and I quote, at 5 p.m. ET today, US Central Command forces began launching more strikes against Iran to continue degrading their ability to attack civilian mariners and commercial ships freely transiting the Strait of Hormuz. The Commander-in-Chief has directed the strikes to hold Iranian forces accountable. Unquote. CNN reports Iran launched missiles and drones following attacks linked to global shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. US warplanes reportedly intercepted an Iranian cruise missile and shot down an attack drone during the latest escalation. Has Iran just struck Donald Trump where it hurts most? Claiming the lives of 3 US soldiers in what would be the most significant single blow against American forces since the conflict escalated? Reports are now claiming 3 American troops were killed as Iranian missiles slammed into a Kuwait base, a development that could fundamentally change Washington's calculus on how far to push this war. Iran's Fars news agency says ballistic missiles slammed directly into an American military position in Kuwait, describing what it frames as a precise and devastating strike on US soil abroad. Black smoke is visible rising from the site as Kuwait itself confirms material damage from the barrage, lending credibility to claims that the strike caused real and serious destruction. The IRGC reportedly deployed attack drones specifically to strike US HIMARS multiple launch rocket systems, targeting the very weapons Washington has been using to hit Iranian territory. Fars news agency claims that missile systems and weapons depots were destroyed in the drone operation, suggesting Iran is now specifically targeting the infrastructure behind US offensive firepower. Meanwhile, on the Iranian side, state agency IRNA reports that 1 worker was killed in the latest US strikes on Iran, adding to a casualty toll that Tehran is using to justify further retaliation. The state agency said the worker was killed while on duty at a targeted site, with 2 colleagues left wounded in what Iran is describing as another American attack on civilian infrastructure. Are missiles now being reported over Qeshm as fresh explosions rock Iran's south coast, suggesting the Gulf flashpoint is entering a new and more dangerous phase of the conflict? With blasts echoing near the strategic port of Bandar Abbas just hours after the latest Iran-US exchange of fire, is the region hurtling toward a confrontation that cannot easily be walked back? Iran's own state media is now reporting that the enemy launched missiles toward Qeshm Island, a loaded phrase that signals Tehran is treating this as a direct act of war on its territory. Iran's Fars news agency reported mystery explosions east of Bandar Abbas and along Qeshm's shores, adding to a confusing picture where claims and counterclaims are outpacing confirmed facts. US officials told Axios that the strikes hit Iranian missile sites and IRGC boats, framing the operation as a targeted effort to degrade Iran's capacity to threaten Gulf shipping and US forces. After a morning of strikes on both sides, has the Iran-US flashpoint now reached a stage of no return, where every retaliatory volley pulls both sides deeper into a war neither officially declared? Iran strikes at US-linked Gulf targets after Washington launches another massive wave of attacks across southern Iran. Iranian Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf declared that the era of one-sided deals is over, saying recent military strikes have fundamentally changed the country's approach to future negotiations and regional security. Iran claims a US base in Jordan was hit, including a command center and drone hangars, during the latest retaliation. Explosions are reported in Doha as Qatar issues emergency security alerts to mobile phones across the country. Qatar says its air defenses intercepted an incoming missile during the attack and confirmed no major damage. The IRGC says its missiles targeted Al Udeid Air Base, the largest US military facility in Qatar. The IRGC claims its strikes hit command facilities and fighter support infrastructure at the US base. Iran says a US military radar site in Kuwait was also targeted as part of its regional operation. Kuwait's armed forces say hostile aerial targets were intercepted inside the country's airspace. The IRGC claims a US support ship and refueling facilities at Oman's Duqm port were attacked. Iran says the operation also targeted logistical hubs supporting US naval forces in the Gulf. Qatar, Bahrain, the UAE, and Jordan are placed on high alert as the regional conflict rapidly escalates. Air defense systems activate across the Gulf as missiles and drones are reported crossing regional skies. Bahrain sounds air raid sirens and urges residents to immediately move to the nearest safe shelter. The UAE says its air defenses engaged and intercepted Iranian missiles and drones during the attack. Amid the crisis, the IRGC says it stopped a second vessel transiting the Strait of Hormuz. CENTCOM says US forces struck 140 Iranian military targets during the latest round of operations.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry guards.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.